out late at night or up early in the morning. Featuring Dog and Suds root beer, iconic cupcakes, homemade biscuits and gravy. The Iconic Cafe, 215 North Main Street, Mishawaka.
Every Thursday night, 9 p.m., Iconic Cafe hits the digital radio airwaves with the best in home interviews and cooking. Be sure to check out Iconic Cafe Mishawaka Facebook page for upcoming and archive shows. Now that's iconic. You are listening to Iconic Radio on XERS, sponsored by Iconic Cafe, home of the Dog and Suds Root Beer and the Iconic Cupcakes, and Brenda's Home Cooking.
All right, welcome, Iconic Radio fans. That was Mr. Joe Probst, and I tell you, that brought me back, about 35 years ago when we'd be in your living room. And,
it's probably 40, Bruce, but who's counting?
Well, I got to keep my age, but God, this has been something I've wanted to do, Joe, for many years, have you interview just about your music and everything, so I appreciate coming down. Joe, he brought his piano, which is beautiful, set it up, so we're in for a great show. For Bill, though, I got to go over our sponsors. So this Friday at the Phoenix, they have High Life. 5-Star Dive Bar will have Attention Deficit. Saturday on the 20th, the Phoenix will have Johnny Sprocket. 5-Star Dive Bar will have the Red Hot Voodoo Christmas Extravaganza. And looks like Paul Erdman, Sworn Off Silence, will be there on Saturday, too. So, Joe, I know you're going to play some songs, but, you know, one thing I've always wanted to ask you is what influenced you starting to play so many years ago?
Besides you and your musical talents and you know, I guess you just I remember it happened when I was 5. I was at my uncle's and aunt's house, and they had an old Michigan basement with an old beat-up piano, but I still remember the chords they put together. There was like, and from this day on, you just keep on. It's like building the puzzle, and it's the way it's always been.
But it's great, you know, and too, I don't mean to speed up the interview, but you've always had your own style. I mean, even then, when we just sit around and listen to you, and, you know, we'd go somewhere, you'd always know it was you playing. You know, how'd you come about that?
It's not that I planned. And I don't plan a whole lot when it comes to how I operate in life, I suppose. It's inside me, and it's my style. And the truth is, I was never trained formally. I play completely by ear. And as I've developed or seasoned in life, I've learned to just more improvise. And it's almost like driving a car. It's like you don't think about where you're heading anymore because it's innately in you. And then sometimes you do have to figure out where you're going. But I don't know exactly how the influences came about or whatnot, but let me play it.
Yeah, why don't you get in your car? Let's drive a little bit. Joe Probst.
Christmas tunes?
Yes.
Sounds good.
That's good to know. Can we talk?
Yeah.
So that's so how do I say this easily? I have a certain amount of tricks. I'm not a very complex piano player, but if I had to give a piano lesson on the air, if you're picturing a piano in your head, you got three black notes and then two black notes, and below that very first black note where there's two is the C note. And if you use your left finger and put it on the C and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you just hit your left finger and thumb, you have a fifth. So I play chords almost like guitar. So on the left hand, I got a fifth. And on the right hand, if you go to a C, you got a D in between. So you have left hand C and a G, right hand C and an E.
Yeah.
So you have a fifth plus a 3 on top. So you have a fifth chord. And you can do so much with that. Get it?
Yeah.
And you keep on playing it so you don't have to think about your left hand, and then you start improvising with your right hand.
Do you hear music in your head when you're playing?
Yeah, and I sort of see it.
See it? Like notes or...
Patterns. Hey, shout out to Ava. This is my 9 or 10-year-old granddaughter. She's staying up late. Good for you.
All right, Ava.
Jesse's probably in bed.
That's his daughter.
And Wyatt. And Arrow. So that's a fifth, and then with a third. But the simplest lesson, if you take that fifth with your left, so a C and a G, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get it?
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh, you know what I love about this is you got the same passion as you had so many years ago. That is so cool.
Well, yeah. Okay, so I grew up in a family with 6 kids, as you remember, Bruce.
Yeah.
And, we only had one TV, and so I was a 3-minute player. I played during commercials, and I got kicked off. So I don't have many songs over 3 minutes, so I'll play another Christmas one. This is cool.
Very nice. Yeah, Mr. Joe Probst. I remember it used to like a boogie woogie. I mentioned that on Facebook. How did you come about doing boogie woogie?
Hey, I grew up listening to the radio, and everything was like the rock and roll. I'm an old rock player. You want to hear a little boogie?
Yes, get some boogie going. We used to listen to this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
What song did you used to play when we used to start? Was it Paul McCartney?
Oh,
I got to get that request out.
Okay.
What was it, 1999 or?
1984, Bruce. It was like 10 years before that.
All right, this was my request, so
Yeah,
we'll get this stuff over. We'll get in the interview. He used to play this, I think, every night for about 2 years. We'd all get together in the house.
Whatever, Bruce.
It was always.
Okay. I used to love this song. Is that too loud?
No, perfect.
My interpretation, guys.
Thank you, Joe. Very nice. Very nice.
Fun.
All right, so we go through the years of high school, go down Bloomington College. You
Yeah,
know,
we were down there at the same time. We didn't, and actually, you introduced me. Lisa Germano was my neighbor down there, but then I remember my first week down there, we hit her house up, and then Lisa Germano's a local legend around here. Plays great violin. I recorded with her recently.
Yeah, The Avenue, the CD.
Yeah, I've got a number of CDs out, but down in Bloomington there was a lot of really good local musicians, and her house alone there was a guy named Michael White,
Yes.
and it was her significant other, and he was great. We all jammed together, and I met a sax player down there named Bruce Wolf, and that guy would just show up. I played a lot of different just venues, places that had pianos in Bloomington, but he would show up and just jam on the sax, and it's hard to find somebody who can just. He almost knows where I'm playing before I went there, and it was great. And then I ended up back in South Bend a number of years later, and it turns out that I was getting my piano tuned by a guy named Andy Knapp, and I was talking about. I said, we were talking about this new club in South Bend. They were starting a jazz club called, and it was above LaSalle Grill. This was a long time ago, 12, 13, maybe 14 years ago.
Right.
We've been together 13, 14 years, so we got it just because they're building this new jazz club, and it turned out to be Club LaSalle. I said, man, I know there's this guy from South Bend, and Andy said, I went to school with Bruce. I know him real well. And so we formed a trio, and we still play around town. We played at Club LaSalle for years. We play a lot of private parties, but that's been a pretty cool deal. But to find somebody who can just sort of jam along, and he plays flute, and he plays sax, and then Andy plays stand-up bass, and he just watches where I'm going. So literally we never, ever practice. And for a band to never practice, so we just get in, we just jam. So we've been doing it forever. We've got 3 CDs out, and we don't play a lot out as much lately. There's just not that many. LaSalle changed their venue, so we're playing a lot of private parties, but we haven't played much publicly. So every once in a while we'll be out there. Well, I'll advertise it on Facebook.
How do you got a couple CDs with him. How do you come up with the music?
I sort of drive that train pretty much. It's tricky with that. We've done it both ways, and the ones that we've done best whereas we actually go into a studio together, and I have a microphone, and everybody's wearing headphones, and I silently say to Andy, I'm going to a C, I'm going to a G, and he's watching, and he's very intuitive, and he actually knows almost where I'm going at the same time. So we played it long enough together. It's a real feel thing. We almost huddle up, and Bruce is just sort of sitting back, and he's just sort of he just getting out of the groove once. So we'll start the groove, and then he just picks up on it. It's very cool.
Yeah,
it's really how music. That's how jazz works. Even though we're not, I don't officially call us a jazz trio because I take rock tunes and have to jazz them down more, if that makes sense. But
yeah, can you demonstrate a little bit for us, Mr. Josepher?
Okay, this is one we put on the album. Get it?
Yes.
So that's pretty itch. And I actually play less and allow them to come in.
Oh,
particularly
okay.
Bruce. I'll take it down and leave holes for him to fill in the gaps. And then it's really cool. And and we'll go back and forth, and then we'll both get on the same wavelength and play in harmony, and that's when it's like, it's great when you get that feeling.
But that's what I always like about you, because the music communicates. I mean, you really listen to the other musicians, and it's just so powerful, and even you got another band too you play with.
Well, that's Bucky and the Lip Rippers.
Right. But I mean, as
Those
bigger
guys,
a group it is.
Now that's playing with a band, being a solo piano player, and even with the trio. It's hard to keep rhythm because I've been such a solo piano player, so I'll speed up or slow down because you can do it.
Right.
But then when you have to actually keep rhythm with the rest of the band, it's a real trick. And I can't read music, so we follow guitar chords, and just keeping track of that's like pulling teeth too. So,
but you really
good.
add to the band, though. I mean, with it,
Yeah, I guess so. Well, it's hard to find. Number one, that this band this was George Cressy, Noah Davey, Mike Spalding, Jeff Hellman, and myself, and we're just a neighborhood. I learned how to drink scotch in that band. It's been great. And then we switched to Jameson. I like that better.
You got cymbals on there. You might.
Anyway, it's been a great group, and we actually play a lot of nonprofits. So and these guys all know a ton of people, so we'll raise a couple grand for whatever maybe $1 grand for whatever nonprofit we're playing for. So it's just fun. Our kids call it.
Oh, I think it's
band,
great.
But it's fun.
I want to bring up too, like, where can people get your CDs and stuff?
Right now, you can get them online at Joe Probst, JoeProbst.com. And you can find links there to either iTunes, CD Baby, and there's also an online order form where you can just send a check in. And Notre Dame still sells a lot of my at the Hammes bookstore on campus, and then that's been a great place. It's some of the gigs I have right now are really great, crazy. I've never liked stores at all, and I think it's 15 or 16 years ago.
I know, it's been a long time.
Melanie Wilimowski, her kids went to St. Monica's, our kids went to St. Monica's. Shout out for St. Monica's. But she said they had all these piano players. They got this Walter Grand piano, which is made in Elkhart.
It's beautiful.
Shout out for Walter Piano. And she said, we need somebody to play it. And I said, it's before the games. And then I went and started. I said, okay, I'll come give it a shot. And it turned out, it's like, these people really dug it. And I was playing, I was like, I want to play some jazz and some boogies. Can you play the fight song? So I ended up playing the fight song like, I said, this song, I love it. And they used to have a tip jar out. And the funny thing was, like, I play that fight song. So I'm getting so tired of the fight song. And then they throw $5 in the tip jar. I'm thinking, I love this song. But then I finally started changing it up, and I had CDs, and they were buying the CDs, but all they really wanted was the Notre Dame fight song. And so I finally asked the store manager, and he's pretty high up at Follow-Up. He said, I asked him, can I record this? He said, no problem. He said, and when it turned out, he says, present your pitch. I said, my pitch? And I said, so I came in. It was the same day my granddaughter was born, so that was 10 years ago. 10 and a half years ago. Hi, Ava, shout out again. And I was wearing T-shirt and shorts, and they said, I thought I was just going to be talking to him. Next thing I was in this boardroom with everybody with shirts and ties and the muckety mucks, and I'm thinking, they said, what is your pitch? And I said, my pitch is I recorded the fight song 8 different ways, and I shut up, which is hard because I'm in sales. It's hard to shut up. But they all just said, well, no one's come up with that one before, and they asked to hear it. And I went through Bruce Bartlett, shout out to Bruce Bartlett Microphones, and he recorded it over at Walter Piano in their studio, and it sounded really in their auditorium.
Well, there's a CD of it too.
Well, that was the whole bottom line. So I presented to Notre Dame. I said, well, here it is. So it sounded great. They said, what are you thinking about for artwork? I was thinking, well, how about if I put my face on the cover and say, they said, if you really want to sell this thing, pay us royalty, put a Notre Dame helmet, get somebody to actually, somebody you can put in the back of it. So I approached Mike Bray. He actually, he has a testimonial on the back. And so what I realized, if Notre Dame wants a project, they help you proceed with it. And that CD is 10 years old. It's sold, I don't know, a ton.
How many have you sold?
I'm clueless. It's in the thousands. But the truth is, with that Notre Dame football helmet, I had to pay royalties and all that. So you have to got to deal with the football thing. But the kicker was I had to pay Paul McCartney for every CD I sell 40-some cents because he owns the beginning of the fight song. So I can record the cheer for Notre Dame part for free, but the beginning, da-da-da-da-da-da, that he gets royalties on.
Okay. Could I put 40 cents on the table?
Yeah, whatever, dude.
For me?
So that's a little tidbit I had to learn about. So
Welcome to music.
But everyone hear the So that's one version. And that's a tuck me in version. But you have something good because these people come back every year. I've been seeing the same people for 16 years. So it's like I know them now by face and some of them by name. But the same people come back to games like maybe once or twice a year. It's like crazy.
You're like the Grotto. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's what he said. He said if you do it one year, it's unique. If you do it next year, it's tradition.
And it is.
So
it is, man. It's so cool.
So that's it. So go figure. Who would ever think that the most lucrative gig in your life is on a Saturday morning in a retail outlet? But it really is.
But at Notre Dame, I mean...
Back to music. Where do you make it in music today? You have to find a niche, and you have to have your own voice. Like you're saying, how do you get your own voice? But for whatever reason... You know what's in your backyard. I'm not into really traveling around. I got a great family, beautiful wife, Letty. Shout out, baby. And it's just I don't think I'd want to travel a whole heck of a lot.
But you never had, I mean, even younger, you always had aspirations, but I don't know. It was never like I want to be, playing all over the world and.
Back in the 70s, though, it was a different... I remember some of the guys I emulated locally. The people I saw who were in music were pretty messed up. There's a lot of alcoholics. I remember one guy, a band, I don't want to say the band's name, but they were like a local legend. They had a good record out, and the guy ended up getting into drugs and got killed in some type of... I don't know.
Yep.
He ended up it's just like... and he was a keyboard player. I'm thinking...
And he was good.
He was great.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, you know what? I don't know if this is my action. So when I went down to Bloomington, it was actually a quieter scene than it was back home because it was just different. So go figure. You think you're in charge of your life, but the tail wags the dog in most cases. But I've always stuck with it. Didn't matter because I'm still playing music.
Well, and we were talking when we were setting up. I asked you, did you ever want to quit? And you had a great thing where when we were in the garage. Remember I said, did you ever want to quit? What did you say?
You can't. There's certain times I don't play it as much. When we had so many kids, we have 4 kids, and when they were little, I didn't play as much. But it's like I was always afraid if I put it down, I wouldn't pick it back up. And it's part of you. I mean, I started when I was 5. I remember the second it hit, and it's always, music is a little bit like, you find something and it's just great. You get a new trick in your bag, and then it plateaus out, and then it's really a stair step, and all of a sudden, boom, you get something else, and and then you're on a plateau again, and all of a sudden you get another little trick. So it's been progressively like that. And I still am always learning right now. But here's what I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Well, not pieces, but putting hands really close together, like 6th and 7th chords. I'm almost like a guitar player on piano. Very simple. So you always go around the block and come back home. Like, cool.
That's very good. And like I said, I could close my eyes and we could be in your living room way back when. And that's so cool about it. I really.
And I still have that piano, and I still play it a lot. It's completely out of tune, but it's. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it because. Unless we just move to a smaller house, but it's been a great piano.
Oh, it's been great. Hey, I want to keep on a little business with you. What's the future of music going? With the.
Well, okay, so I have like tons of CDs, and the way I did my CD work was I would put money up for one, and then I'd sell enough to make a few bucks, and then put it away for the next one. So it was always self-perpetuating, and it's just. This last CD is the coolest CD ever. It's with Lisa Germano and Emily Germano, her sister Emily Gapples is her married name. But we grew up on Mishawaka Avenue, right down the block from you, and it was amazing. In this one block, we were on the corner, and
Strantz's was across the
Strantz
street.
and Chuck Strantz, he did the artwork. Shout out for Chuck Strantz and his good art, and it's funny, just in one, and even next to us, Ted Snyder played classical piano, and he's passed on. But so 45 years later, I asked Lisa Germano, and Lisa Germano ended up playing. She's still playing quite a bit, but she played for Mellencamp for years, and she's performed with David Bowie. She recorded with him, Simple Minds, and she's just a really cool person. But nonetheless, I asked her to play, and then so we had a look at like a neighborhood project. So this CD is called The Avenue, and it's based on Mishawaka Avenue, and a lot of people who were around that time back in the late 60s, early 70s. So.
Oh, and the pictures are just fantastic of the families, when you used to get together and stuff.
So that CD it's available on Spotify. You can go right now to Spotify, type in Joe Probst, The Avenue, and that's a great CD. And we don't have anything queued up right now to play, or that'll be the next round. Maybe we'll come in and play some CDs. But
I'll have it. But I always admired you because your marketing sense. You always put that as a priority. And,
it's fun.
Well, I know, but you always had a great sense of business with that I think, helps you survive, too, with it.
Well, and how to put this, if you can't make money on the projects, and I don't think you should be embarrassed to make money on music because it's a gift that we've been given, and you've got to share it. And the only way to share it is to not go completely broke. And having a family is like, I got to make this thing break even at best. Right. And this last album, I'm still in the hole on it because no one's buying CDs anymore.
Well, we were talking about that too. It's like,
and that was a rude awakening. I thought I would have enough local following, but even I've got a great fan base, and it's like my boss at work. He said, even getting it into his computer and load it in was just a drag. So I guess I haven't bought a CD in years either. So I should have thought that one through better. but nonetheless, I'm so glad for that project because it's so cool graphically on the art. But so the next move is, okay, so you can't monetize off actual physical recordings. So I thought, oh, this would be cool with Spotify. And so I would sell, hundreds of CDs and get, a fair amount to put away. And then I would get list of CDs. I remember getting CD Babies, a quite familiar site for a lot of musicians to promote their CDs through. And I'll get a royalty, check in the mail with I had like 8 pages of all these downloads, not physical purchases of the CDs, but where people have gone on and listened to it, so you get a click hit. And I think, oh, this is awesome! Look at that; it's like 10 pages. It must be like 600. And then you look at the check's like $49. Like, oh crap! Like, well, this ain't gonna pay for nothing. So that's where it's gone. So you understand why musicians are having a time of it, and why they're all flustered. So a good friend of both yours and mine, Mark Platty, a good friend of Letty's too. We all met him down at IU, but he's been in the music recording business forever.
Well, he went to school there at IU. Remember, he's in the school
he went to
of
audio
music.
engineering program. That's where we all met. And he would bring in musicians for his projects. So that's how he brought me and some of our bands in for different times. But he's even feeling the pinch. So he started a publishing company in New York where he's taken some of the artists that he's recorded, and then he's pushing. So in this publishing company, he'll push it to different outlets. Like he has a firm in Canada that's interested in like 7 songs from the Avenue CD. So that's the next move is for people to use them for project work. There's another local, it's a lot of cool talent out of this area. Karen Farrar Grau. Karen Farrar went, I think she went to Main Junior. I think she went to St. Monica's, but she went to Mishawaka. She's a great friend of Peggy's and Maria Germano's, but she has a documentary company down in Indianapolis, and she's using some of our music, and that's just cool. I finally scored. We scored an entire film from frame by frame, start to finish, and it's
Now, what was that like?
it was
doing
awesome.
that?
It was absolutely the coolest thing. And I used Mike DeHaze. Shout out for Mike DeHaze and
Yep.
Kickstart Studios. He's one of your sponsors, I hear.
Yep.
So I went to his place, and I'd already been, I was working. You have to get to know every project you're working on a little bit, but I got to know the film, and she does films about kids in prison. So, like, how do you make music for somebody in prison? And
So how do you? I mean,
everybody had a type of style. Like this kid, his was more of a toy type song. The prison scenes you play angry music when kids are getting beat up, and the social workers had sort of some soothing music because that's what they're bringing to life. So that's where I went with it, and she said that's right, that's spot on. So
in your own
I
style.
literally did it frame by frame, start to finish, one take. It was amazing.
One take?
One take.
Wow.
48 minutes.
Wow.
Now, what they do with that is beyond me, but I'm pretty much done. Then Lisa Germano came back. She did the same thing. I gave her what I did, and she got to know that. And then she came in, and both Mike DeHaze and I were just like, our mouths were wide open because it's like watching a chess player know where they're going 5 moves ahead of time. I mean, I'm pretty good, but she was amazing to watch because, like, man, she did and she was layering on top, so she put like 6 layers on some of these songs. But it's like, I know she could hear what she was going to build on top of that pie, if that makes sense. It was very cool.
And that was with the violin, right?
That was with violin.
Wow.
So, and she knocked it out in a couple hours too. I mean, it's like, wow.
That was all Rocco's discipline,
Yeah.
those years.
Yes.
Well, why don't you play some more for us, Joe? Joe Probst. Wow, that was very nice.
Hey, speaking of IU, shout out to Big Alex, our son down there. He's sitting in the living room. He's got this show on with all his buddies.
All right.
You're not drinking, Alex. I know that, right? But,
Any of the kids take up music? What the kids do?
they all took piano lessons. And
From you or from someone else?
No. No. Yeah, I taught him driving. That's enough. No, I think it's a gift. And, okay, here's my interpretation of talent. I always used to think, because I worked so hard at not really working, I just did it all the time, and I played so much, I thought, okay, that's why I'm where I am. And then when I went down to IU, I mean, there's this round building, and it has 300 practice rooms,
right?
And it's just phenomenal talent from all over the world, just everywhere, and you're never humbled so quickly until you see people who are just so proficient. And then, but I would go in there and not knowing music, I would still sneak in these rooms because I didn't take music classes because that's a very classically trained and jazz trained school, but I would beat the daylights out of their practice pianos. But one of their students came in one day. He says, "You have no idea the gift you have." He says, I play for 8 hours a day, and I'll never, ever be able to sit down and play like that.
And just be yourself, right, is what he was saying, or what?
It means that he just doesn't have the gift to sit down and perform without music before him.
Ah, okay,
okay. So that's just amazing. So that's when it dawned on me, say, oh, this is totally a gift. And then when I finally realized that, it took out, it made me very humble. So I don't feel like it takes the ego out of it, if that makes sense. So it's not really me. I'm sort of the vehicle for a great God-given talent.
But I've never heard you even have an ego with it. I mean, I've just always remember you as just loving to play. I mean, and you'd do it for us at the drop of a hat. We'd be outside and say, "Hey, Joe, you want to go play some piano?" We'd all go into the house. I mean,
that's true.
I mean,
that's what I do. So,
well, how do you teach kids that then? I know you're really good at giving lessons and stuff.
I'm you know what? I have so many tricks to teach. There's this kid in South Bend, and he was in fifth grade. I was giving him lessons, and then one of the Spaldings, one of their kids, I was giving her lessons.
Well, she's still at Purdue, right?
Right. So
yeah.
She was done, but now they were completely different. This young kid I teach in South Bend, he was great, but he really, after maybe 15 to 18 lessons, that was all I couldn't teach him anymore. But I could teach him how to play from his heart. That's the one thing you can teach technique, but then teaching them how to play from within themselves is the real gift. As I found out, I think I did, because I concentrate mostly on, okay, here's how you do it. Now, pretend you're playing on top of an egg, so that you're not going to crack the egg, and pretend that you're watching a movie and a young child's on his deathbed. How would you play to that? So, because that's how I perform in my head as a kid. I would play to movies in my head. You play to certain emotions, and that's how you're not worried about the technique. You're worried about the feel.
Well, I never knew that. Wow.
You learned something new, Bruce. All right, Christmas week. I don't play it right, but whatever.
Hey, if someone would like lessons too, how would they get a hold of you? On your Facebook page or website? What?
I rarely take a student. I'm not looking for students unless they've got to have some ability or something that makes me say, okay, I'll take you on. So
I know.
And I haven't taught in a year, and it's felt pretty good. Well, it takes time. I'm really busy. I've got a great shout out to Deco Art Gang. I work over at Deco Art. I'm in sales, and that's a great place, but we're busier than sin. So,
well, you're such a good salesman too.
oh, yeah. Did you guys hear that?
Only on Iconic Radio.
Yeah. Doseman, that's a local family. They're a cool family.
How's the Dosemans doing? Man?
Awesome. They're a great family to work for. I really enjoy them.
I bet.
Four of the
man.
brothers are there. They're cool. It's a very unique company. And
remember when we went to Chicago? Dozeman was going to school
Andy.
there. Yeah.
I bought a piano that day.
That's right. Remember that?
He doesn't work there.
No. But he lived on like the 50th floor. Remember, we're up in that apartment building.
Yeah, he went to DeFry or something like that.
That's right. Man, you just get in a zone with it. You know?
Yeah, and then that's it. That is the key to music. If you're not thinking about it, as with anything, even at work, if you think about your best days at work, you're not thinking about anything. You're just in a rhythm. So.
Have you ever lost it, or has it always just been?
No,
there for
sure.
So how'd you get it back then? How?
You just muddle through it, just like any day. You keep doing it.
And you're going to do
Some
it
days
forever.
are better than others.
You're going to do it forever.
Sometimes a break is a really good thing.
But
a couple of weeks off, and I rarely take a couple of weeks off, but now I've been playing strong since from August is Notre Dame season, and then we work right into Christmas. So from August till December, and come January, I'll probably not even touch the piano a whole lot, and it's like, oh, this is great.
Oh,
it's
good.
a nice respite. And then when you get back, it's like, oh, cool. So.
Oh, the WNIT too. You just performed for that.
That was great. Brandon Boyer, so you know her.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, she called. She said, "Would you want to do this?" And so next week in WNIT,
you know the date or time, or
I don't know the schedule. Go to WNIT. That's Gordy Young's Experience Michiana.
Yeah. Yes.
Experience Michiana show. So they're going
to. Kelsey was there too, right?
He's a nice guy, yeah.
Yes.
First time I met him. So they came and filmed me over at Tippecanoe Place, and I think they're showing different Christmas scenes all over, and they're using local musicians for some of the music in the background. And I think Bergamot, they filmed them the next night. I think Mike DeHaye, some of that, who's the band he's in?
Oh, Paul Urban Band.
I think those guys. So there's a lot of different acts they've been recording lately. So it's very cool. I was honored to be asked, and that was magical too. Or it felt like it went well, but you never know until you see it. So.
And what's it like playing at Tippecanoe Place? Because that place is so old, so much history there.
God, it's so interesting. It's that house. It's not like I'm playing the Ghost, but I know it sounds funny, but you play in that house, and it's like that house needs music.
Yeah.
And you can only picture what it must have been like, back in the old time, at that Downtown Abbey, and you see it's like you can only imagine what it took to run that place, but the music just flows through the place. So it's a cool gig. It's a great piano, and it's a nice room, and the I'm really in the foyer, but the people are so accommodating about it, and that they just really enjoy it. So it's a great gift to be doing that.
And what times are you there for people?
This Sunday will be the last one. I play football in Christmas season.
Oh, no kidding.
So usually
this Sunday is the last tip.
Yeah, and if you've got to get reservations, they'll be wall to wall. Santa Claus is there.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Santa.
Boy, you're putting the shout outs.
Yeah, whatever. He's a good one, too. But that place is really cool. Yeah, that's a neat place. So I like these local restaurants.
Hey, can you play a little soft? I got to go over Bill's promos here.
I'll play some background.
Joe's going to back me up here. Here we go.
What's the style? What are we talking about here?
Whatever you want to roll, baby. Roll it. Okay, so Friday, December 19th, at the Phoenix will be the High Life Band, and Five Star Dive Bar will have Attention Deficit. And I know if you've been on the Facebook, 5 Star, they got a great steak coming out. Just brought it up with a baked potato, but a great place to go. Saturday on the 20th, the Phoenix will have Johnny Sprocket, and the 5 Star Dive Bar will have Red Hot Voodoo Christmas Extravaganza. And, of course, Paul Erdman, Sworn Off Silence, he'll be there too. So, and let me make a shout out. I want to give a big thank you to Mike Hayes, one of our friends. He couldn't make it tonight, and Joe was nice enough to come in, but Mike's at the food bank, and he did the Toys for Tots tonight.
Oh, that's great. That's a good cause.
Yeah, it is. Mike does a great job, and we went to school with Mike Hayes.
Yeah, I remember him from junior high.
That's right. Goes back, and Bob Singleton will be coming on the show. He's got some great news for us, and always want to give a shout-out to Tom Russell. His book, Finding Your True North, A Bullied Teen's Journey of Hope. It's his new book he just came out with, and
sounds cool.
It is, and you can get it at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com, excuse me. And January 10th, he's going to have a book signing at the cafe, and I know Joe is going to come down and play at the cafe too one of these times. Big shout out to Adam Nelson, who puts together the menus and all our social media. Can't say enough for you, Adam. And what you do, get a hold of him on his Facebook page. And, of course, another Eddie Kurlowitz. He'll be coming up. And I just talked to Billy Sticks. Remember Billy Sticks? He just had his 80th birthday.
That's good.
And he looks fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we're going to have him on.
That's a local legend.
Yes.
Truthfully, Pine Top Perkins, Billy Stick, Pine Top was more Laporte, but that was another legend I finally saw.
Did you ever play with him?
Oh, no, but I saw him right before he passed on up in Benton Harbor. And and my wife, I said, I got to wait in line and get a CD for him. And he signed. I said, I'm a piano player, and I just always want to hear you play. Hey, look at me. Attaboy. But that guy rocked. I mean,
I know.
And about 6 months later, he passed on.
And his piano's over at Albertina's. It's at Martha.
That is his piano.
That is.
That's a great piano.
Do you play it when you guys play there?
I tried the last time we played there, but it didn't really. I don't think we had a mic right or whatever. And plus, we had too much junk on the stage. So.
Well, hey, my last shout-out goes to Brenda, who makes some fantastic specials at the cafe. She just did homemade scallop potatoes and smoked sausage tonight.
Yum.
So,
Yum.
yeah, she was good. So,
you have I went there. I met her. She's very nice.
Yes, she is.
And I'll tell you about your restaurant if you want to know. Your plates are huge. It's like, holy moly. It wasn't very expensive, and you had a lot of food. It was very good.
Well, I appreciate it. So we try to do
Is that enough? You feeling good about this?
Yeah. Kick it in, baby. Kick it in.
Sort of some ADD plan. Oh yeah, this is a song. A CD I sold was really the first CD I made. I made cassettes, and then this was called Kicking Back. And
Oh, this is one of my favorites.
I really never know any of my songs, but this is one.
Very good, Joe. Iconic Radio. Joe, we got about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
How would you like to wrap it up? Anything you want to say?
Well, thanks for having me on.
Oh, of
And you've
course.
been a good friend all these years. We hadn't really seen each other for a number of years. All of a sudden, we're like, that's sort of nice being in contact again. And I think, I don't know. I love this area. I love my family, and I love music. And I feel very fortunate to be here.
Well, I think it's an honor, too. Like I said, if I close my eyes, we go back to your living room, and I think that's so fantastic. You still have the same passion and the same style, so I always appreciate it. Well, hey, we're going to go next week. We're off for 2 weeks, and I'm going to put on Facebook the best of, so if this is the show you like, vote for it. We'll have it on Facebook, and we'll end up with Joe playing, and we'll finish up Iconic Radio.